Let's talk about the president a little bit and the Democratic leadership. The voting record shows you voted with the Democratic leadership about 94% of the time. Do you think Speaker Pelosi is taking Congress in the right direction?
You know, I don't think a lot about Speaker Pelosi. My job is to represent my constituents and to do the best job that I can. You know, these percentages, remember, about half the votes that we take in the Congress are celebrating some baseball team or naming some post offices. So what you'll find is that even, hardcore Republicans actually vote with Nancy Pelosi a fair amount of the time. I have parted with my party in a couple of areas where I thought it was important to do so. On spending, I have for a long time voted against any spending bills that I thought were either poorly timed or poorly constructed, because we have a very serious debt issue to address in the coming years, and on some ethics issues. And that has resulted in my being, and you can check this on Washington Post, having the most independent voting record of any congressperson in all of New England.
Would you vote for another stimulus package if it was handed down to you?
Well, I think that depends a lot on where the economy goes. If we see an acceleration at the rate at which we're adding jobs and economic growth, it may not be necessary. If we go into a double dip, look, if we start seeing unemployment rising again, people losing their jobs across this country, we're going to need to consider that. And we'll consider just what we did 2 years ago, which is what is the right mix of, hopefully smart infrastructure spending. I say this representing Fairfield County, where we could really use some infrastructure injection, and the tax cuts that will, hopefully get people out there buying things again.
Some of your colleagues have been reportedly backing away from the president and Speaker Pelosi. Let's talk about her for just a moment. One of your colleagues, Chet Edwards, was hesitant to endorse her for another term as House Speaker. Do you think, if the Democrats hold on to control, that Mrs. Pelosi is the best Speaker for the House? Would you endorse her re-election?
Dennis, at a time when, as you point out, unemployment is high, I have devoted exactly no time to thinking about whether Nancy Pelosi or Steny Hoyer or anybody else would be the best leader. I'm focused on getting the job done for my constituents and on getting re-elected. In the next 6 weeks, we're going to tell a story. We're going to tell two very different stories to the people of Southwest Connecticut about the vision for moving forward. I have not given one iota of thought. I have never been shy about partying with the president and partying with Speaker Pelosi when I thought it was right. On spending bills, I'm taking a lot of guff from my own party now because I've come out in favor of a temporary extension for the high-end tax cuts for the reason that, economically speaking, and the economists are pretty consistent on this, now is not the time in a very hesitant recovery to raise taxes on anybody, on small businesses, on anybody. And as a result, I have heard from my party loud and clear, but look, I do what I think is right for the economy and for my constituents. I'm going to continue to do that.
It seems non-committal, though, your support for Speaker Pelosi. I mean, you can right now say, I'd like to see her reelected as Speaker. But you're hesitant to say it.
I haven't given it an iota of thought. Look, personally, think about what she has been able to accomplish. Whatever you think of whether those accomplishments were good or bad, you got to sort of give her the title of Iron Lady. If I get reelected, and if they put a vote on the table before Congress of who gets to be the leader, minority, or a majority, at that point I'll give it a lot of thought. But look, when you have 15 million people unemployed in this country, to be spending a lot of time thinking about who should lead the Congress, I think, is misplaced thinking.